Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of 352 Blitz. You see, it's just me and Ed today, but we're going to make it work. Before we get into everything, make sure you guys like, follow, and subscribe. That's on YouTube, TikTok. I always mess this up every time. YouTube, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, X. I might be forgetting something else, but it's all 352 Blitz. All one word and all the same username, so you guys can know that. But besides all that, before we get into everything too, as well, I want to say rest in peace to Alex Collins. He was a running back that played for I think the Browns, but played for the Ravens too as well. And he was fun to watch whenever he was in Baltimore. Great guy. From
Seahawks.
what,
Played
yeah,
for the
Seahawks,
Seahawks.
Seahawks. Yeah, from what I've heard, he was a great guy, and it's sad to see somebody pass away at 28. That's insanely young. Also was a great running back on University of Arkansas too as well. I remember seeing him do his thing when he was playing with them boys too as well, man. So it was just sad situation, and I just want to send both of us want to send our deepest prayers and condolences to his family and everybody that's affected by this as well, man. Very sad situation for sure. Um, but with all that, let's go and get into it, man. So we're already 1 week into the preseason. We got week one, under our belts. We got week two starting in a couple of days as well. Ed, I want to get your thoughts on preseason week one. Who stood out to you? What stood out to you the most from the first week?
Team one. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. So team wise or player?
It could be either, whatever you feel like.
So I think team wise, the team that kind of impressed me the most was, oh man, what's it? Oh, the Browns. I think the Browns look pretty good on offense and defensively as well. What the reason that I picked the Browns is because I think he was a third round pick or a fourth round pick in the one the offensive tackle from Ohio State. He was a
Oh,
late pick. He was a steal. I mean, he is solid. He's about 6'7", 6'8", 365 pounds. He was moving people left and right, no matter what the experience was. And he continues doing that in the throughout the preseason when practicing with other teams and stuff like that. So I will say that he was been the most impressive player so far. Um, this the first 2 weeks of preseason, just because like he came in, took that starting job, and he's already mollywopping people left and right. So it is fantastic to see.
for sure, definitely him. I saw a few highlights from some players like the Chiefs back in QB. He had some insane play where he was like he shook somebody, and then while he was getting tackled, I think he threw a dot to the middle of the end zone, hit somebody, and Mahomes was hype. But first off, I want to say Anthony Richardson looked pretty good. I know that's a little bit of a basic answer, but I would like to give my props to him whenever I can. He was looking good. He threw a pick, and you can kind of tell that was just all jitters the way he threw that ball. He was just like trying to get out the sack. But I mean, shit. After that, he looked good, bro. He had some good throws. Some of the receivers had some ugly drops, which was annoying to see. But besides that, he looked pretty poised, looked pretty confident. Looked like once he got the jitters out the way, he looked calm, cool, and collected, and looked pretty good. So Anthony Richardson was definitely looking good to me. But yeah, man, not too much really to talk about. As we all know, starters play like one or two series at most, and then it's just a bunch of backups. So there's not too much to talk about with preseason, but it's still great to see that we have football nonetheless.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, man. Things are starting to heat up though. Regular season coming up in a few weeks as well. One big thing that's going on right now is not Anthony. I see AR. I thought Anthony Richardson, but Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is trying to get David. I don't know how to say his last name. Starts with a B. He's one of the best tackles in the nation. But Anthony, damn, I keep saying Anthony. Aaron Rodgers is trying to get him for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as we all know, AR took a $35 million pay cut to try to get more pieces for the Jets so they can, make a Super Bowl run. And yeah, man. So Ed, I got a question for you. So if they do get David, and I mean the Jets, if the Jets end up getting David from the Packers, do you think the Jets could be favorites in the AFC East, or do you think it might not have that much of an effect?
So I'm gonna rewind what you just said, and I'm just gonna say that right now, as it stands, they are the AFC East favorite for me when they signed Dalvin Cook. So
Yeah, we just
if they add David Bakhtiari, I hope I'm saying his last name right. if they add him, there's absolutely zero reason why they shouldn't be in the AFC Championship. That's how I see it. It should be them and the Chiefs. Just because you can't go against Mahomes. You used to not be able to go against Tom Brady. Now the new football era is Mahomes. So I think the Chiefs will always be there, unless like somebody beats them, obviously. But I think right now, as it stands, just with Dalvin Cook, that is a team they have to make the AFC Championship. If they don't, it's a major failure. That's my opinion because they're stacked. So if they add David, they're Super Bowl favorites.
Man, I'm glad you said that because I've been saying the Jets have been a serious team even before they got Dalvo. And we'll talk about Dalvo a little bit later with the Jets and everything. But I've been saying for a while that the Jets are my favorites in the AFC East as well, just because they have a top 5 defense. Defense got a little bit better over the offseason too as well. And now obviously they got Aaron Rodgers and they got Dalvo Cook now. And then now if they get who I think he's probably he's definitely a top 2 tackle in the league, top 3 for sure. You know, if they get him, that's going to definitely take the offensive line to the next level. And we've always said that their offensive line is what's holding them back. So if they get a big piece like that, it could get scary for the AFC. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily agree that they should go to the AFC Championship because the AFC is so stacked and things could happen. But I mean, you know, who knows, bro? It's going to be this is probably the best year of AFC football that we'll probably see. You know, that we've seen so far. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for it, but I do think if they get him, things can turn out for sure with them.
Yeah, and I feel bad for Justin's not here because he's working. But the other day when they signed Dalvin Cook, when the Jets signed Dalvin Cook, Justin was, he was pissed because he was like, man, the Miami Dolphins literally cannot have 1 year, right? This was basically their year. Not their year, right? Because you still have the Bills and you still have it would have been the Bills and the Dolphins and then the Jets coming up. But now they added AR, they added Dalvin Cook, they added all those pieces on defense. They go ahead and add David. He was like, man, we can't have 1 year. Like one easy year, how the Patriots did it for 20 years. They can't have now one team can have what I'm saying? Like, because the Patriots, let's be honest, when the Patriots were winning Super Bowls, the AFC East was absolutely shambolic. It was terrible.
Facts.
I don't think that the Jets have beat. I think first of all, no. Bill Belichick has won the last 14 games against the Jets.
14. What is that? Like 7 years? Because that's 2 games a season. So what? Like the last 7 years, basically.
Yeah. So think about that. Think how bad the division was, and now when one team, the Patriots fell off, and one team can be the next Patriots, all 3 of them are competing.
Yep.
I think it's crazy. So I feel bad for the Dolphins fans, and I feel really bad for the Bills fans because they're waiting for that first Super Bowl, right?
Yep.
And for Josh Allen to knock on the door there, finally get to the AFC Championship and win it. It's tough. I feel bad for every AFC East division fan just because like it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a war every single game. You have to basically go undefeated to get the higher seed because it's gonna be tough, man.
Facts, bro. AFC East is a gauntlet. Definitely one of the tougher divisions. I know it's probably between the AFC North and the AFC East for the tougher division in football for sure. But yeah, AFC East has like literally completely flipped. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be exciting to see, bro. I can't wait. I can't wait for that Jets and Bills game. I can't wait for the Jets and Dolphins game too as well. That's gonna be hype, boy, especially in the group chat. But moving on for sure. So there is still some contract holdouts going on between 2 big defensive linemen. First, I want to talk about the first person, who's Chris Jones, obviously probably the best D tackle in the league, sorry, not the best D tackle, one of the best D tackles in the league for the Chiefs. So he's currently holding out right now until he gets the same contract or better than Aaron Donald. What do you think about that?
I don't think that he's not as good as Aaron Donald. Damn, I can't talk today, fellas. He's not as good as Aaron Donald, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve more money. And the reason that I say that is because think about Mahomes. Mahomes got his contract 2 years ago, right? And obviously, Mahomes is not getting paid more than Hurts, not getting paid more than Herbert, not getting paid more than what's Joey Burrow here soon. So
Yeah.
does he deserve more money than Aaron Donald? I will say no. But should they pay him? I think so because he's been phenomenal in the Super Bowls that he's played in, and not only that, he's an anchor for that defense. And I think that he is one of the best D tackles in the game. He's top five for sure. Because of who do you put in front of him? Fletcher Cox, Aaron Donald.
Fletcher Cox kind of is getting old now, but yeah, that's why I said he was top two. But yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead, bro.
so he's up there. So I think that if he holds out, I think that's going to be a major missing piece for the Chiefs. But at the end of the day, I think that he's doing the right thing and sitting out and getting that paycheck. Because at the end of you need to get paid for you need to pay me for me to perform, right? So if you're not
Yeah,
willing to pay me, then why am I willing to risk my health? So he's doing the right thing.
yeah, I agree. He's doing the right thing, and he kind of has more power. I mean, more leverage than the Chiefs do, because like you just said, he's an anchor in that defense. They definitely, if they want to have a chance to make it back, especially through this AFC, the way the AFC is now, if they want to have a chance to make it back to the AFC Championship at least, they need Chris Jones. Like that's non-negotiable. So I think Chris Jones has the leverage. Asking for the same money as Aaron Donald's a little bit of a stretch, but they definitely got to pay him for sure. And I would never ever fault a player for trying to get his money. You know what I mean? Especially because NFL is a short career, and you put your body and your health on the line. You can literally die out there. So I don't definitely fault him for trying to get his money. And I kind of see where he's coming from because I don't know when Aaron Donald signed his contract, but as the years go by, like every 2-3 years, each player gets a new record breaking contract for their position. You know what I mean? So I get where he's coming from, but I agree with you that he's doing the right thing to hold out for sure. I don't know, but like he has leverage, like I said, and I truly think that he is going to get paid sooner than later, especially with the season fast approaching. Because we both know if you hit the free agency market, he's getting snatched up like that easily. You know what I mean? So somebody's going to pay him. So if the Chiefs don't do it, he's going to get his money either way. So I say they got to pay him. But the next person having contract holdouts is Joey Bosa over there in San Fran. So his reasoning is he is holding out until he gets the deal that'll make him the highest paid defensive player ever. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, somebody got to do it, right? Somebody has to be the most paid player defensively of all time. Should it be Joey Bosa? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, since he hit the league, he's been dominant, right? I mean, he's dominant in a defense that's full of dominant people. They have the number one defense, and he's the main guy there. Whenever
Yep.
you talk about the 49ers, you talk about two guys. You talk about the linebacker, and you talk about Joey Bosa.
Yep.
Right? Those are the main two. The whole unit, as it is the most elite defense in the NFL, but you always focus on Joey Bosa. So I think that the 49ers, I mean, the thing about the 49ers is that they're in a weird situation here because, and the reason that I say this, and I hope that 49ers agree with me once we put this out there for the world, but the 49ers have been literally knocking on the Super Bowl for the past 4 or 5 years. The main missing piece that they have is the quarterback position. That's
Yep.
the main piece. They've had problems with every single one of them. They drafted Trey Lance early. He's either injury prone or he's not able to perform on the field. And then now they drafted Purdy. He had a good 7-game stretch last year, and then he went over to the playoffs. He did well as well, but then he got injured in the NFC Championship. Now, should you pay Purdy or should you pay Joey Bosa?
Yep.
That's a tough question, because if you pay Bosa, you're not going to be able to pay a free agent quarterback in 2-3 years. Or you can just draft another quarterback, but you're not going to draft a quarterback high if
Yep.
you're always winning. So like the only way that I see them, it's tough. It's a tough situation. I don't know what I would do. Like, would I pay my elite edge rusher because every team needs it, or Do I invest in probably trading some picks and a big contract for a quarterback out there that needs it? I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna talk about Joey Bosa first, and I'm gonna talk about the Niners as well. Uh, I keep saying Joey. It was actually Nick Bosa. I'm sorry, guys. Nick Bosa, not Joey. But Nick Bosa. Should he be the highest defensive player? I mean, paid ever? No, he shouldn't be the highest paid. He's not even the best defensive player on his team. I personally think Fred Warner is better than Joey Bosa, but I get not Joey, than Nick Bosa. But I get where Nick Bosa's coming from. He's young. He's only 25 years old, and he's done with his rookie contract. He's due for that big contract. So I mean, shoot for the stars, right? So I get it, but I mean, I think he'll get his money for sure, and I think he has a little bit more leverage. But for the 49ers, they got to definitely decide if they want to win now, or kind of think about the future. Because if they commit to spending all that money on Bosa, they're in win now mode, right? And they're a Super Bowl contending team, right? It's obviously in the NFC, it's between them and the Eagles. There's definitely some teams out there that definitely have at least a shot, right? In the NFC, when you think about the Seahawks and maybe not the Vikings, but obviously Seahawks and somebody else in the NFC definitely has a shot. But I think I do think the 49ers should commit to being a win now team. Go ahead and pay Bosa, and yeah, I think if they would have had a quarterback, they probably would have went to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, that's debatable, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, they're in win now mode, bro, and they should pay Bosa. He deserves definitely a check. Maybe not the best defensive player ever, highest paid defensive player ever, but definitely deserves a check. So, it's kind of a weird situation for the Niners, but I think they should commit to just being a win now team and pay that man, and they'll figure out the rest later at some point. And kind of like we said before in the prior episodes, there's always a 2 to 3 year window that teams have to win the Super Bowl, and they're kind of in that 2 to 3 year window now. Fred Warner is 30 years old, I think now, and some of the key pieces around that defense are starting to get a little bit older now. So it's like it's now or never for them. You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see. But moving on. So I'm pretty sure you've seen this on Twitter, and everybody else on Twitter has seen this as well. There's been a lot of fights and a lot of injuries going on in these joint practices and whatnot. So do you think the NFL should start moving away from these joint practices? Like, if we already have preseason games, what's really the point of having joint practices? You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
So I'm gonna say that they shouldn't get rid of it just because it gives them a different perspective from practicing with with your own teammates.
Yep.
Because I mean we've played sports, and after a while going against somebody, you kind of figure out what they do best and what they're weak at, and then you can just exploit what their weakness is, and you
Yep.
always win. But if you're practicing with somebody new, weekly, a week, you're not really gonna know. I'm not sure what's going on with Greg there, but
1 second, I'm good.
you're good. So you're not really gonna know what's going on with. I mean, my bad. Let me rethink. If you practice with a new team for that week before the game, that gives you a different perspective and a different action and different what you may call it competition. So I think that they shouldn't go away from it. Now with the fights, yeah, they need to calm down. But if you looked at it today, the Cowboys fight was between the Cowboys themselves. It wasn't between two teams. It was between the Cowboys themselves. So I don't think that they should get rid of it. I think that it gives it, like I said, a different perspective on how good they are right now, competing with another team, and it allows them to hit someone else other than their teammate.
True. Yeah. You made a good point in saying that these joint practices are good for the player to finally hit somebody else, right? And that is true too as well. That most of the fights have been between teammates themselves, right? And like, I get where people are coming from. The reason why I asked that question because I saw people in the comments of like one of the posts I had that was talking about one of the fights, and they were saying like joint practices are pointless. I'm like, they kind of have a point, but I do think they serve a greater purpose. Just because, like you said, it gives people a chance to see them in a different light. It gives players another opportunity outside of just the preseason game to show how good they are. And people get tired of hitting the same players over and over again in practice. You know what I mean? So I think the joint practices are good for the NFL, good for the players as well. I don't think they should get rid of them at all. But I think it was still worth talking about and kind of seeing what everybody had to think about it. I mean, sort of seeing what everybody had to say about it as well. But all right, moving on. So you kind of mentioned this earlier with Dalvin Cook signing with the Jets. I want to talk a little bit more about that. So obviously, they had a good rookie. Brees, I keep saying everything wrong. Brees Hall had a great rookie year with the Jets, but even though he went down, he still had a great year. And obviously, from what I've heard, from what we've heard, he's been healing pretty good and making good progress and everything. Do you think things are really going to work out having Dalvo and Brees Hall in the same backfield? What do you think about that?
I just think that you don't sign Dalvin Cook if you weren't sure that Brees Hall is going to be 100%, right? Because you're paying a my God, a running back. What was it? $7 million. I think it was like close to 9 million overall with all the bonuses. So you're bringing in a running back from the outside in. You're paying them all this money to not use them. That doesn't make any sense to me, right? You're gonna use Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook's gonna be the number one running back at the Jets. So then my thing is the weird thing for me was the Jets how they're handling Brees Hall because like okay, you brought in Cook. Brees Hall just tore his ACL. He's coming back from tearing back his ACL. So then why don't you like wait till week 6, week 7 to bring him back practicing? He can practice, but bring him back to games.
Right.
But he's already practicing. They signed Dalvin Cook. By the next day, Brees Hall was already out there. So to me, that's a little weird because you literally have a star running back in Brees Hall. It was phenomenal rookie year. But you bring Dalvin Cook, so then just let him rest. Let Brees Hall rest. Let the injury heal perfectly, and then once you know that he's ready, he can start practicing fully. He can start hitting the games. It's just a weird situation for me. And I don't. I'm not. I'll say I don't necessarily agree with it. How they handled it, because
Yeah.
because now you're kind of knocking his confidence down, and I mean Brees Hall.
Yeah, I think I agree with you wholeheartedly there that they should have waited a little bit. I mean, they should wait a little bit to bring back Brees Hall because he's a future running back for like the next at least 2 to 3 years. You know what I mean? I guess they aren't 100%, confident in Brees Hall's ability coming back from the injury. You know what I mean? So I kind of get why they signed Dalvin Cook, but I just think the timing of it is a little weird, like you said. I don't know if they're going to start using some dual halfback formations and whatnot. I think probably why they signed Dalvin Cook is because they still want to have a threat of a running game. I think that's probably why they signed Dalvin Cook. That could be the reason too as well. I'm trying to rationalize what they did, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to have Dalvin Cook. I definitely think it hurts Brees Hall's confidence. Especially now that he feels like he's not really secure, and players don't really play that well when they don't really feel too secure about everything. So it's interesting to see how they're going to make that work. I do think, like you said, Dalvin Cook is definitely the starting running back for them now. But I'm interested to see how they're going to make this work. I'm very excited to see the Jets play in general, but this situation is kind of weird. So we'll see, man. We'll see. One last thing for tonight, talk about another running back, Mr. Josh Jacobs. It's not necessarily about him. It's more about what the Raiders general manager said. So he says that they're definitely going to make a long-term deal for Josh Jacobs. It's just a matter of making people happy on both sides of the deal, which is pretty standard. But that's weird. I mean, not weird. That's good news, you could say, for running backs, right? That he's looking to get a long-term deal, especially good for Josh Jacobs. When we just saw Dalvin Cook sign for a one-year deal, then we saw Saquon sign for a one-year deal, and now that you're hearing about Josh Jacobs getting a multi-year deal, that's good. So let's say he does get a multi-year deal and he gets a pretty good bag. Do you think that's going to change things for running backs as a whole, or do you think things might just still stay the same?
I'm gonna say that the running back situation is gonna stay the same because the main running back that needs to be extended has not gotten extended yet, and that's Jonathan Taylor. If Jonathan Taylor gets that extension that we're talking about, like that 5-year extension, then I will say, okay, the running back situation is now fixed. or better than it was. But Josh Jacobs, I mean, he's a phenomenal running back, but last year was his main year. Before that, he had pretty solid years, but last year was his main year. And now that he's at the end of his rookie contract, that's when they're going to extend him. With Jonathan Taylor, the man has been a stud since he came out of college. Came out of college. He has 1,000 yards every single year, and they don't want to pay him. So like he's the main guy that needs to get paid. I don't think Josh Jacobs will be the reason.
Yeah, yeah. I think if Jonathan Taylor and Saquon would have got multi-year deals, long-term deals, and got paid, then that would have changed things for sure. But the fact that Saquon kind of caved in to what was going on, and Jonathan Taylor hasn't got paid yet, I don't think the Josh Jacobs signing is going to change anything. I agree. So I think that window's kind of went a little bit too late. I mean, that window's kind of closed already. So I don't know, man. I hate to see the running backs treated like this, but then again, it's business, so I get it. So I'm not too mad at it. But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, I don't think it's really going to change anything for running backs anytime soon. And now I don't know if you've seen this or not, but in a lot of these clips, a lot of like these training camp clips, a lot of the wide receivers lining up in the backfield. I saw Justin Jefferson was lining up in the backfield, going out for routes, kind of like what we talked about a couple episodes ago. Football is changing right before our eyes. Like we don't really see fullbacks anymore, right? And now running backs are kind of getting not X'd out, but it's just a game that's just changing. You know what I mean? And it's kind of sad to see, but then again, that's just how life works at the end of the day. So I don't know, man. I hate to see running backs go because what they did say is true though. You do need a great running back to win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And the fact they're getting treated like this is just sad at the end of the day. So hopefully we see some change soon. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
If you look at it, kind of the pioneer of the running back being changed like this is going to be Cordero Patterson. Because remember, he started as a wide receiver in the Vikings. He came over to the Falcons. He was a wide receiver there, but then they moved into running back. He had a very solid couple of years at running back position as he was able to catch the ball like a wide receiver from the backfield, and then he was still able to run the ball extremely well through the tackles. So this is to say that it's been kind of changing for a long time. We just haven't noticed it yet, right? I mean, look at what's his name from San Diego, not San Diego, the Chargers. The Chargers, Eckler, he's not a great rushing back. If you look at his stats last year, rushing wise, they weren't great, but he was able to catch the ball extremely well, right? That makes a mismatch to the linebackers. That makes a mismatch with the safeties, and so that's what you want. So I think, like you said, man, Justin Jefferson was lining up at running back. Elijah Moore with the Browns is lining up at running back and running routes. You're gonna see CMC does that already. Cordero Patterson has done it. I'm not saying Cordero Patterson's an elite running back, but he does it. So I think Kamara does it as well, where he lines up at wide out. So I think that if running backs want to keep the running back position going in the NFL, the best thing for them to do in college and in high school, and all the high school coaches, is that you're gonna have to teach them. You're gonna have to teach them double: how to run the ball and how to catch the ball. And how be multi-dimensional. Basically, make it hard for the NFL not to want you, right? If you can do two positions and you only cost one, you're saving them money, and you're making yourself indispensable. And I think that's what the running backs have to do.
Yeah, you got to make yourself indispensable, like you said. And like we keep saying, the game is changing, right? Because you don't see big running backs like Marshawn Lynch and Steven Jackson anymore. You know what I mean? You're not to the big bruising backs. You see people like CMC, like you said, Eckler. Those are the guys, Cordero Patterson, guys that can run the ball efficiently and catch the ball efficiently, and who are definitely matchup nightmares. You know what I mean? So the game is changing. It's exciting to see football kind of revolutionizing, but at the end of the day, you got to get with the times. And this is just like really a bad time for running backs like Jonathan Taylor, and unless you're like exceptionally elite at running the ball, like Derrick Henry. It's going to be kind of hard for you to just be a one-dimensional back and have success in this league and get paid. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it is what it is at this point. But anything else you got to add, Ed, before you get on out of here?
No, I'm just excited for college football here starting in about 2 weeks. And then we have NFL preseason for the next 2 Sundays. And then after that, man, it's almost a season. So I'm excited for many reasons for this football season. Yeah, man, just continue watching us and interacting with us and everything like that. We are, I think we said it last week, but we're actually going to have an addition to the show, hopefully next coming up week. And so he's going to be able to do this with us here and then also help us with like edits and shorts and stuff like that. So we're going to get more active here. We actually got the verified X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and now. And so, we're trying to slowly going on. We've been consistent for 23 weeks. Think about that. 23 weeks we've been consistent. So we're doing our thing. Thank you for tuning us and follow us, interact, comment, anything like that.
Yeah, what he said, bro. So we appreciate you. Ed said it all for me, so we'll go ahead and get out of here. Leave a comment, leave a like for us. We'll catch y'all later.
See you.